Faygoluvers.net with the one and only Bill Manspeaker of Green Jello. What's up, brother? How's it going?
Howdy, kids. This here is Bill Manspeaker, the punk rock puppet master of Green Jello, saying hello to all my Juggalo friends out there. Whoop-diddy, whoop, whoop, whoop.
So, being that, Green Jello has been around for nearly 40 years, what would you say is your greatest...
Yeah. Isn't that pathetic?
It's crazy, man. 40 years almost, man. But yeah.
Yep. I started my band on January 18th, 1981. I was 12th grade in high school.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, so reflecting back all those years, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment as a whole in keeping the punk rock genre alive?
Wow. Sucking across the decades, I would say. I sucked in the 70s, I sucked in the 80s, I sucked in the 90s, and God damn it, I'm sucking in the 2000s. I would say one of my greatest accomplishments, and I'm not kidding, and though this is going to sound highly pathetic and ass-kissing, but to be part of the Juggalos is one of the most amazing, most fantastic events of my life. I mean, I've heard of the Insane Clown Posse since, of course, the 90s. And I always heard this negative all the time, And again, I wasn't familiar with the band. All I was familiar was the negative tone. And when I met up with Jay, which was, I met him in Portland, Maine, just by chance. He just happened to be at a Green Jello show. We met. We became instant friends. He invited me to the gathering of the Juggalos. And everybody around me told me, dude, are you nuts? Those people are crazy. Don't go anywhere near them. You're not going to have a good time. Stay away from them. They're bad people, blah, blah, all this negative. So I went to see it for myself. And I got to tell you, it was the most awesome time with the most friendly, the most generous people. The event itself was spectacular, well organized, not overpriced. Once you got inside, you didn't have to pay $20 for a bottle of fucking water. It was $1. It was a great event that lasted with days and had really great people and really good times. And at this point in time, I've already done a tour with the Insane Clown Posse in Canada, a 5-day tour. I've done 2 gatherings of the Juggalos. And I just played with them in Las Vegas in February. And I got to say, those were some of my top 10 shows of my entire existence. So I'm going to honestly say, even though it sounds very ass-kissing at this moment, I'm going to say one of the greatest accomplishments is being part of this amazing group of people and these amazing events that they throw.
Wow. Yeah, I mean... Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad that you guys have, your band and you as a whole have connected with the Juggalo crowd, because I know you've also did some shows at Twisted also. So you... Oh, yeah. And the same thing, different band, obviously, but the same group of people, the Juggalos. And we just nailed it with Twisted. Again, jam-packed show, great event. The Juggalos just embraced us. So no matter where we go, Juggalo Canada, Juggalo Vegas, Juggalo Connecticut, Juggalo, gathering of the Juggalos. Every time we play, just very well accepted. They get what we're doing, we get what they're doing, and everybody just has a really good time. So, just Juggalos. I love them. I would love to hug and kiss each one. No, not kiss. Sorry. I'd love to give each Juggalo a personal hug of thank you. Well, we appreciate it, brother. Now, speaking of working and touring with ICP and Twisted, if you guys were to do a track together separately,
what would you like the subject matter to focus on between each act?
You mean if I was to be somehow glorified and to do a track with Twisted or the Insane Clown Posse? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes, sir.
If somehow I would be that fortunate in life to do such an epic thing, I wouldn't care, man. I would sing songs about my grandma or watermelons or dancing in the pit of scorpions, whatever it would be amazing. It would be one of the greatest things in my life if I could ever do a song with either one of those bands. Again, I've been familiar with them for a very long time, but I didn't know any of their songs particularly or what they were about. And now that I'm a part of this amazing clown culture, I'm loving it. So, if I was ever fortunate to work with either one of these two genius bands, oh my God, my life would be complete.
Great answer.
And I've done other festivals. I've done Warped Tour, which is, real super commercial and super high priced, and they pile all these bands and they charge the bands a percentage of their merch and everything, inside is super jacked in the price. Every time that I've played with the Juggalos, no matter if it's Insane Clown Posse or Twisted, the prices are reasonable. Merch is reasonable. Everything is affordable. You can tell that these bands are playing for their fans. It's not just this quick cash in and cash out bullshit. So I really enjoy that part of it. And I just don't see any of this gang-related FBI searching, bullshit that everybody's claiming. All I see are a bunch of great people having great times, singing great songs.
I agree with you. I've been to 2 gatherings in a row, and I went to D.C., and definitely nothing gang-related I saw. I'm with you on that, brother.
No. People like to talk shit and like to, put other people down. Here, there's these groups of people that are doing these events on their own and putting out their own records and their own promotion and their own touring. And, instead of, giving them the pat in the back and saying, hey, that's great, they get all this bad talk, which is complete lies. Again, if anybody that has ever gone to an Insane Clown Posse or Twisted or any other Juggalo-related show, they know for themselves it's just a good time. Nothing else. In fact, I think it's a better time than most of these goddamn shows that you go out to. If I want to go see the band Tool, I got to pay $500. If I want to go see the Rolling Stones, it's $1,000. If I want to go see the Juggalos for 4 consecutive days, right? The gathering is 4 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right?
Yeah, about 5 days.
And then Sunday, 5 days? Oh, sorry about that. So,
well, no, like
5 day.
Yeah, Sunday's usually like a leaving day, but yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, the leaving day, right? So basically 4 days of entertainment for an affordable price. And both times I went down there early, and there's just a huge party while everybody's waiting to get in. And it's not a violent party. People are just smoking weed, drinking beer, hanging out, and making friends. It's the most wonderful, enjoyable experience, and I'm just proud to be part of anything that the Juggalos do.
Well, we appreciate your positive feedback, brother, for real. Now, can we take a time warp back to 1984?
Sure.
Yeah, 1984, man. I wasn't even alive yet, but I know about this because it's part of your history. Opening for the Ramones at the Buffalo State College. What went down? And do you still consider what Joey Ramone said about you guys being the worst band ever to open for the Ramones as a great positive
I
reaction.
was going to add that in. I was going to add that into the thing of the great accomplishments. Of course, being accepted by the Juggalos, being one of the number ones. But, being told by Johnny Ramone, one of the rock icons or punk rock icons of our time, that the worst band that ever opened for the Ramones was Green Jello is one of the other proudest moments in my life. I remember distinctly Johnny Ramone having me physically thrown out of the venue. And when I say thrown out, I mean picked up by the seat of my pants and the back of my shirt and thrown over a fence with my puppets coming right behind it. Get the fuck out of here.
Holy
so,
shit.
Of course. Not only did Johnny or Joey Ramone say that I was the world's worst band that ever played for them, but maybe 2 years later, I was reading the newspaper in the local town I lived in, Buffalo, New York, and I saw this ad to be on this television show called the Gong Show. And what it basically was a variety show. And if your band or if you're acted good, you won a silly prize. And if you acted bad, you were completely humiliated on television. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this is it. If I could get on this TV show and be humiliated in front of millions of people across the world, I will have proof that somewhere in the future somebody says, hey, I got the worst band or my band sucks. I said, dude, no, I have the proof from 1987 that I was the first shittiest band in the world. So I called up this number and I told them that I had this band, Green Jello, and that we sucked and people threw food at us, chanted Green Jello sucks, and I would ride out on a moped, dress up as a cow, and people would throw food at us. So they said, well, sounds wonderful. Your audition is 4 p.m. Wednesday at Debbie Reynolds Studio, 4800 block of Lancashire in Hollywood, California. So I said, sure, I'll see you. I didn't tell them I lived in New York State, and that day I hopped in a car, and I drove 5 days across America. And as I was going over the Rocky Mountains, my car explodes at the top. The engine blows up, steam coming out of it, and I'm like, fuck, I am not going to make this audition. And I was really bummed. And then I realized I was on top of the mountain. And all I had to do was glide all the way down. So I literally putted my way to Hollywood and got that audition. I rolled up at 4 p.m. on that Wednesday. I got out of my car with my rock and roll pumpkin costume. I got the audition, and with 1 week, I was on TV. I got gonged. I got humiliated in front of millions of people, and I won a year's supply of turtle wax doing it. And then suddenly, I realized that I'm 3,000 miles away with a broken down car, and I can't get home. So I got me a job at a record store in town called Tower Records. And I told everybody, I said, I got my car. I drove 3,000 miles to be humiliated on this TV show. And I won, a year's supply of turtle wax. Well, at that time in the 80s, everybody was here like to be in a famous hair band like Motley Crue, Poison. So
Twisted
there was no
Sister.
shitty bands, and there was definitely no punk rock puppet band. So everybody just thought I was insane. And a couple years later, maybe about 2 years later, one of those guys that I worked at the record store with, he got a job at a record company, and he got me signed. And all of a sudden, my crap-ass band had a record contract, or actually a video contract, with a major record company. And a year after I signed the contract, I sold 14 million songs worldwide. And ever since then, life has been really easy.
That's inspirational. Holy shit, bro. I can't.
And the kid, and the person that made the Three Little Pigs video, I don't know if you're familiar with my claymation video.
Yes.
But he was in 12th grade. He was in high school. He lived at his parents' house. He moved his dad's car out 2 weekends out of the garage, and he made that video in 4 days.
Wow. Impressive.
High school kid.
Wow. This is the first time I'm ever hearing this, so this is...
It got nominated for an MTV Music Award by a high school kid. So my point is, anybody can do anything, no matter what age you are, 55, 15, 17, whatever it is. If you try hard enough and you focus your energy into a positive area, you will succeed. But if you sit around and you think of all the reasons why you can't succeed. So if I sat home back in 1981 when I was 17 years old and I said to myself, you know what, Bill Manspeaker, you have no musical talent whatsoever. You cannot sing. You tried to be in chorus when you were in grade school, and the nuns told you that you were throwing off the other children with your horrible vocals. I mean, these are realities. And common sense would tell somebody, don't try to sell 14 million songs. But I focused, I stayed positive, and I never gave up. And here I am, 37 years later, still doing the same exact thing that I was doing in 12th grade in high school. Nothing has changed except for I've got to meet all these fantastic people and play these most amazing shows across the world. And of course, Gathering of the Juggalos being one of them. And this would have never happened if I would have sat around thinking of all the excuses why it wouldn't work. All I did was focus on that 1% chance that it could happen.
Yeah, it's like that quote, fall down 9 times, get up 10, pick yourself back up and keep going.
And that is so true. It's more difficult to sit home and think of the reasons of why you're going to fail at something than it is to actually get up and go out and do it. It takes more energy not to do something than it is to go out and actually accomplish something.
So when you
if I would have never gotten to that plane and flown 3,000 miles and played this little show in Portland, Maine, I would have never met Joe. And me and Joe would have never become friends. And he would have never asked me to play the Gathering of the Juggalos, and I would have never played them 2 times, or the Vegas show, or the tour in Canada. That's if I would have chose to just stay home. But no, I chose to get in a plane, fly to a place I've never been, and make some new friends. And I just happened to make the right new friend that day. And now I'm part of this amazing clown culture, the Juggalos. Whoop, whoop.
Well said, well said. Now, looking back on the Serial Killer record, you have Danny Carey and Maynard James Keenan of Tool, of all people, on the record.
Correct.
And can you remember the first conversation you had with you guys and how you convinced them to be part of your band and on that album, that album that helped you into the mainstream world?
Tool was in Green Jello way before there was ever Tool. Danny Carey had been in the band since the late 80s, and Maynard joined the band right in the beginning of the 90s. And I met Maynard through Adam. Adam was a big Green Jello fan. They used to come over to my house, and we would make costumes all the time. And one day he brought over his friend Jim, who had just moved from Michigan, and he needed a place to stay. So I, of course, let Jim move into our house. And he immediately joined Green Jello. and helped me sing some of the songs. So at this point in time, I had Adam Jones from Tool, Maynard James Keenan from Tool, and Danny Carey were all in Green Jello. So when I came home one day, so like I told you, that my friend from Tower Records got me the record deal. So
Yes.
one day he gives me a call and he says, Bill, I'm going to be out in the food court at Sunset and Vine having lunch with the president and the rest of the company. You come by like you haven't seen me in years, and I'm going to introduce you to everybody. So, of course, I did, and I came by. I was like, oh, hey, Kev, how you been doing? Oh, my God, I haven't seen you, and so on. Of course, I just saw him yesterday. But he introduces me to the president of the record company, and he asked me about my band. Tell me about your band, Green Jello. The guy's name was Lou Malia. And I said, well, I got this band, Green Jello. I dress up as a cow. People throw food at me. They yell that I suck. I was on the Gong Show. I won some turtle wax, blah, blah, blah. I'm the worst band in the world. And he said, how much do you need for your project? And I just blurted out this number. I said, I will make you 11 music videos. I just want to be a music video band. I don't want a recording contract. I want a video contract. And I'll make you 11 videos for $60,000. He picks up his phone, calls the main office, says, Chris, write Manspeaker a check for $60,000. We just signed Green Jello to the label. I got a record deal without the record company ever hearing, seeing, or going to any of my shows, just purely on the conversation that I had. And I came home and I had a check for $60,000, and Maynard and Adam were home. And I said, dude, look, I just got $60,000. And right then Maynard says to Adam, we're starting a band right now, and we're going to get signed to that same label, and we're going to get $300,000. And right then they started writing songs, and right then that night they started finding people to be in their band, just out of friends that I had at Green Jello. And Maynard put together a band in like 3 days. And that weekend on Saturday, when I threw a party with my $60,000 I just got, the record company came over, saw Tool for the first time, playing in my living room, signed them for $300,000. So all of a sudden, my house, that were all making minimum wages, you know, TV production people or art department people in Hollywood, all living in a big giant loft. All of a sudden, we had $360,000. Well, the week before, we couldn't put the rent together. And now we got over $250,000.
Dude.
And then a year after that, we got millions of dollars. And then obviously, you know, Tool went on to be big, gigantic, mega conglomerate stars, you know, worth billions of dollars. But, yeah, so Tool was in Green Jello first. And that's how they actually spawned into Tool, was just through the creativity that was found in Green Jello. Maynard writes a whole chapter in his new autobiography about how living with Green Jello inspired him to be creative and to do all these amazing things.
The punk rock puppet pioneer inspired Tool and got signed. That is amazing, brother. Wow, I'm speechless right now.
There's a bunch of Tool.
And
there's a bunch of Tool songs written about some of my experiences also, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, it needs to be made into a biopic, brother. Dead serious.
Yeah, it does. But, yeah, we're not talking about Tool. We're talking about
Green Jello. We're talking about Green Jello, yes. So,
no, we're talking about the Juggalos.
Any advice you like to give?
My favorite group of people.
Any advice you like to give to musicians who, you know, they just suddenly have a kid in their lives, and how to balance being a father and a full-time touring musician?
You know, just because something happens in your life doesn't mean you have to give up other things. There's a fine balance to everything. You know, have your family participate with you. Bring them out on tour with you. You know, I've taken, you know, my wife was 9 months pregnant, and she was still on the airplane flying and touring with me. She stopped at 9 months because the airplane wouldn't let her on anymore. And then once the baby turned 3 months, he started touring. So, our kid just turned 4 years old. His name is Chaos Diablo. And he's been on over 60 airplanes. He's been on every tour with the Insane Clown Posse. He has his own Green Jello costumes. He sings songs. He participates in my band. Having a family or having children and giving up what you love is just an excuse. You don't need an excuse. You can do the things that you love and desire in your life. Just include the people that you love to be along with you. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Like I said, our kid started touring with us when he was 3 months old. He's 4 now. He gets on that plane like it's nothing. I have a son who is 23 years old right now, and he started touring with me when he was 13. And he's been, on every airplane, every boat, every, tour from Canada to Mexico, throughout the United States to England. He's gone everywhere with me. And just recently in January, I was having a conversation with him, and he said, "Dad, I think I'm going to move to China." And a month later, he moved to China. And he's gotten himself a job, and he's gotten himself friends, and he's skateboarding through China, and he got a scooter, and he's taking photographs, and he's having the best time. And he calls me up the other day, and he said, "Dad, I would have never been able to do this if I never went out on tour with you in Green Jello." He goes, "Because you taught me how just to go in any direction, in any way, that the world is my home, not just one little place that I live, and then I could have friends everywhere and do things in every place." So, by example, here's my older son that has learned from touring, and here's my younger son right now that I'm teaching. So all it really does is enhance your family. It doesn't take it away. Share these wonderful gifts with your family, and you'll succeed with them.
Powerful words.
Don't use the excuses to stop you. Again, it's far harder. It takes more energy to make up an excuse than it is to actually do something.
Now, you dropped the bomb that Green Jello is working on a new record called Garbage Band Kids.
Band Kids, correct.
Yes, sir. Can we shed some light on that a little bit and, the subject matter and what type of record it's going to be?
Real easy. This entire record, and which is almost completed, I got 13 songs recorded out of the 15. I'm waiting on the last 2. This is a Green Jello album, CD, cassette, whatever, download, whatever the hell you want to call it. Collection of crappy songs, whatever you want to call it. This is an album made and recorded, written by the Green Jello fan. So basically what this means is I put out this Facebook blast saying, "Hey, I'm going to write this fan-based record." And what that means is I want you to write the lyrics, write the songs, record it. When I'm in your town and I fly in, I'll go wherever you want. We'll throw down the lyrics and we're done. And I've done this 13 times across America. So it's basically 13 different groups of fans that were fans when they were 10, 11 years old, when they were just little kids. They're now adults. And what I've done is recorded their version of a Green Jello song, and then they're making their own version of their own Green Jello videos. So this album, or collection of crappy songs, is purely written by the fan for Green Jello. All I'm doing is showing up and doing the vocals. They've already written the vocals. They've already written the song. They've already recorded. I'm just showing up and laying down the vocals. All fan-made.
I think that's the first time a band has ever did that. I've never heard of anything like that, brother. So wow.
I've never heard of anything like that either.
You still
and that's
there?
what I like to do. I like to think. I like to think outside the box. You know, think of something that's never been done before and do it, and then all of a sudden you're the pioneer. Because what the problem is when people copy each other. They find a great musical genre or a video style they like and they copy it. They're competing against something that was already made, and you're going to be judged against, you know, whatever was the best. But when you think of something yourself and nobody else does it, you lead the way. So way back in the 80s, everybody wanted to be in the best band. Everybody was striving hard to be in a really great band. I was like, you know what? There's this line that's so huge to be the best. But look over there, the line to be the worst. There's nobody there. I could walk up and I could take the number one spot. And I did. Not only did I walk up and take the number one spot, but I took over the whole stand. I'm the one that's passing out the numbers after me. I am the number one crappy band. Now, there's a zillion bands that wear costumes. There's a zillion bands that are claiming that they're the worst. But I was the first. And then just recently, what I'm doing right now is I only do 3 shows a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I live in Los Angeles. Every Thursday, I hop on an airplane, and I fly to a different state, and I play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I fly home. And basically what I did is I set up a Green Jello band in every state across America, Canada, Mexico, Alaska, England, the Bahamas, and Australia. I have over 850 current band members. And every week when I hop on a plane and I land somewhere, a group of completely new musicians pick me up, and we play for 3 days. And then the week after, I go to a different state, and a completely different group of people pick me up, and I play 3 days. So I'm always getting the musician at their best. They're doing their best Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They only got 3 days. What the problem with being in a band is not everybody does their best all the time. So if you're out on the tour for a week or 2 weeks or a month, you know, maybe the drummer starts slacking or the guitar player's wife's cheating on him and he's upset, blah, blah, blah. These issues don't apply to me anymore. I'm only dealing with these people for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then boom, I'm gone, and I got a new set next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I've been doing this consistently 125 times a year through 7 countries, nonstop since 2012, all on the airplane, all with different musicians. So again, here's another thing. No other band has ever done that, had 800 people in their band. I have the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's largest band in rock history. Again, all I'm doing is thinking of things that haven't been done. I'm not copying something that I like. I'm creating something new. I'm just thinking of it, doing it, and making it a reality. And that's easy for anybody to do in any situation. Again, it's a lot harder to sit home and complain and think of the reasons of why you can fail than it is to actually go out and do it. So if I would have sat around and said, oh my God, you know, my musician's the drummer, his wife left him, and the guitar player, he's an alcoholic, and I'm supposed to go out on a tour, I'm going to have to catch. You know, these are excuses of why your tour is going to fail. So instead of having those excuses anymore, which I had
from the year 2008 till 12, I was carrying around a band in a tour bus, having to deal with all these bullshit items. And then all of a sudden, one day it clicked on me. It's like, dude, I could just have a new band in every town. I don't need to carry around these jackasses with me all the time. So it's never too late to start a new beginning. Every day is a new chance to start your life over. Say your life sucks today. Well, tomorrow's another chance, my friend. Think of another way. You know, the biggest insanity there is when you're doing the same things over and over, expecting a different result. You're doing this over and over, and you're failing every time. I'm failing again. Well, next time it's going to. No. Don't do the same things over. If it fails, forget about it and try something else. Because people are only going to remember you by what you win at, not by what you could lose 99 times as long as you win once. But you're not going to win that once if you don't take the 100 tries to take it.
Yep.
So, you know, my whole thing is, and I really preach this, and I really push it, and I really try to prove it by example through myself, is you got an idea, you got a passion in your heart. It doesn't matter if you're 12 or 52. Go out and grab it. Don't let it pass you by. And I think why I kind of get along and I agree with the Juggalo culture so much is they have that idea inside them. They're the freaks. They're the kid that got picked on in school. They're the isolated, you know, girl in high school. That was the little kid that you picked on in 5th grade. Now they're Juggalos. And all these misfit people, all these people that were thrown out or cast out, they've created this community of themselves. Not only based on a band. It's not just Insane Clown Posse. It's not Twisted. It's not 800 other Juggalo bands. It's the Juggalos, and they're together as a group because they had been cast out by all the cool people, and they don't want to be cool. They don't need to be cool. They just want to be themselves. And when I go to an event like the Gathering of the Juggalos, and I see thousands of them from across the United States all migrating to this one place so that they're all with their friends and they're all accepted together. It's a beautiful thing, and that's why I'm really honored to be embraced by such a great community of people.
Wow. I'm speechless again, man. So I got a couple more questions left. The first one.
I got a lot more answers.
The first one I want to ask is, this is for people who've never seen the punk rock puppet show live. If you had to choose a specific food dish to describe a punk rock puppet show, what would it be and why?
I'm going to say it would be Brussels sprouts.
And why is that, sir?
Because out of all the amazing vegetables there are, Brussels sprouts is the worst. and we're that. That's why I chose the name Green Jello. Because out of all the amazing desserts there are in the world, chocolate mousse, ice cream, banana splits, Green Jello is the worst dessert that there is. So I found it fitting to name the worst band after the worst food that there was. Being in my band, it's about taking the negative and turning into a positive. I come out, everybody give me the finger, scream, Green Jello sucks, Green Jello sucks. Aerosmith doesn't come out and do that. Mick Jagger doesn't say, everybody give me the finger, Rolling Stone suck. It would be disastrous. I come out and I prove that it is possible to take a completely negative thing, no matter what it is, yelling your band sucks, giving the band the finger, knowing the singer can't sing. These are all negative things, but somehow I put a positive twist on it, and everybody has a good time.
And during the mini tour through Montana and Idaho, you had a fan who, I guess, broke his leg, and then somehow you ended up giving him his own your own personal underwear, and you signed it for him.
On the second song, this dude had to be 300 pounds and 6 feet tall. He was a monstrous person. And the second song, boom, he went down during Anarchy at Bedrock, snapped his leg in half, stayed for the entire show. And at the end of the night, as 7 of their friends are carrying him out because he's so huge, he passes by me and is like, dude, can I have your sweaty underwear? And I looked at him and I said, of course you can. And I dropped my pants right then, and I gave him my sweaty underwear. And his girlfriend looked at him and said, you're a fucking asshole. And then they left. And that was the last I ever saw of him. So somewhere in Montana, there's this 300-pound, 6-foot gigantic man in a cast with a pair of my sweaty underwears under his arm.
Would you say that was the weirdest fan moment to ever happen to you?
No, I have weird fan moments every day of my life, believe it or not.
That's just the craziest, absurd punk rock story I've ever heard, brother.
You know, it's weird. Like, I'll be in a Walmart in, like, Kentucky, and somebody will come up to me and, hey, are you Bill Manspeaker from Green Jello? Oh, my God. So it's all weird. And, again, I embrace it. I don't get egotistical about it. I don't get obnoxious about it at any point, any time in my life. I don't care if I'm eating food or taking a fucking shit on the toilet. You can come up and approach to me, and I'll be the nicest person in the world and give you 100% of my time. So I sort of embrace the crazy person. I embrace the fan to approach me. I am not, I'm just not I'm not an ass. I'm happy for my job, and I'm happy that people enjoy my humor.
And which 3 punk rock albums would you say is the most influential in creating your band, and who inspired you to create the punk rock puppet outfits?
I'm going to say that it was Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks, because that came out in the late 70s. And that's when there was Led Zeppelin, The Who, Foreigner, all these kind of mega bands. And all of a sudden, this punk rock thing came along, and being in a band wasn't so distant anymore. All of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I can do that. I couldn't recreate, the Swan song by Led Zeppelin or Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones or Bob O'Reilly by The Who. Those are rock classics that were sung and performed at peak performances. And all of a sudden, Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks came out. And I was like, dude, I could sing this on the toilet. So the Sex Pistols really opened the door for me as being a singer, because now there was this thing called punk, and it didn't matter if you sang. It just mattered about the attitude of it. So that's where the actual, band part kind of broke for me, was at the Sex Pistols. But the costumes and everything just came from, being a kid in the 60s, and there was this thing called the Super Saturday. And where from 8 in the morning till 12 in the afternoon, it was nonstop cartoons on all 3 channels. Because back then we only had 3 channels. It was Channel 2, Channel 4, and Channel 7. ABC, CBS, and NBC. That was it. And they were just littered with all these cartoons. And there was this one
cartoon company called Sid and Marty Krofft that made a thing called what was it, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters and H.R. Puffin stuff, and where there was these full-bodied costume things. And so that's what really inspired the Green Jello punk rock puppet show. So if you took H.R. Puffin stuff and mixed it with the Sex Pistols, you got Green Jello. It was really that simple. Or Kiss plus Sesame Street. That's another good example. Kiss and the Sesame Street is Green Jello. So, one part I got from the glam rock, punk rock bands. And then the other part I got from Saturday morning cartoons and breakfast cereal. It just mixed it together. And again, nobody did that before. And so, it's easy to be the leader when you create something. It's hard to be in first place when you're competing with thousands of people all running this race at top speed. But if you create your own race, you'll always be number one.
Wow. You have been delivering great answers all night. The fans and the Juggalos worldwide are going to appreciate it. So on the final note,
and that's all I'm really trying to do. I'm not trying to suck up. I'm not trying to play favorites. I'm just out here, and I'm just trying to find that person that is so gifted and so talented and so discouraged that suddenly I just want to give them that spark back. I want them to look at my crappy band up on that gigantic stage at the gathering of the Juggalos, having the best time. I want them to look at my band and not say, dude, that guy is cool, I wish I was him. I want them to say, dude, I could so do that. That is so easy. It's not about the hour that I'm on stage. It's about the 23 hours of getting there and the people that I'm meeting along the way. I've had my time performing. I've been doing this since I was a kid, 1981. And here I am 38 years later, and all I want to do is share. I just want to share this moment. So that's why I'm recruiting these band members that are the local guitar player, the local drummer. That's why I'm recruiting the costume people right out of the audience. Your favorite song when you were 13 was the Cow God. Well, you're the Cow God, and you're going to be part of the song. Your favorite song's the Three Little Pigs. Well, you're going to be one of the Three Little Pigs, and you're going to be on the stage. I've already done it, and I've already did it 1,000 times over and over and over again. I know what it feels like. I know how it is to be on the stage and play in front of thousands of people. I just want to share it. I want to share it with that person in the audience at that moment. Get them up on stage. Get them on the other side of the wall. They're always looking at the stage. Get them on the stage. Let them know what it feels like to be looking out. That's what I do. And I do it 125 times a year throughout the world.
And what would you like
in the moment?
Agreed. And what would you like to accomplish in the next 5-10 years as a musician?
I would just like to see all these people that were in the bands and that were dressed up in the costumes. All I want to accomplish is I want to know that guy that I picked in Poughkeepsie, Kansas, and that guy that I picked in New Jersey, and that guy that I picked in Alaska. I want to know that he picked back that paintbrush and he started painting again. I want to know the kid in Florida is back playing drums again. I want to know that person in Texas is back making their art. I'm not looking for the accomplishment of myself. I'm not looking to sell another 14 million records or get nominated for another. I've already done these things. My goal for the next 5 years is to inspire every single person that I meet and get them back on that track. Get them back on the road to their life. Get them back to being creative and artistic. Get them out of that slump.
that they got to go to work for 40 hours and suck up to this fucking dude just to get a paycheck. I want them to go and make a painting and forget about their shitty boss. I want them to go and pick up their guitar and forget that their parents told them that they would never make it. I want them to be able to find that spark. That's my only goal.
Tons and tons of respect your way, brother. That's amazing. And
I hope, and I think it does, and I hope that this really shows when I'm out on that stage. You know, because when I'm out there and I'm playing for the Juggalos, I'm recruiting Juggalos to be in the band. I'm recruiting Juggalos to not only wear the costumes, but play the guitar, play the bass. I have so many people that are Juggalos, that are in my band, that I have personally sought out and got them and put them in there and have inspired them and set them on the right path. Because there's so many times that the people in your life disappoint you, your parents, your friends, the people that are close to you, and they tell you that your dream is silly and that you need to focus on something else, and then they give up. You know, I'm not that guy. I'm there to shake you and tell you, hey, pick up that drum, pick up that guitar, pick up that pen, pick up that paintbrush, do it, and don't care about anybody's personal opinion of why you can or cannot. Just do it for yourself. That's it, and that's all I'm trying to do, and I'm pretty sure that I project that image when I get up on the stage in front of the Juggalos. I'm pretty sure that I'm projecting this image of, hey, this show is all of us tonight, not just me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah to that, man. So any final shout-outs you'd like to give before ending this exclusive interview with Faygoluvers.net?
I would just like to personally thank Joe, who just took his time out of nowhere to meet me in Portland, Maine, and say hello, and to hear the same things that I'm telling you right now. Me and Joe had that same conversation in this back parking lot in some crappy little club in the middle of Portland, Maine, and that was enough for him to say, hey, come join me at the gathering. Come join me and meet these Juggalos. They will enjoy you. So that's all I'd really like to say is, thank you to Joe, who reached out to me personally and set me on this wonderful path to these wonderful people.
So to all listening, keep a lookout for Green Jello's next LP, created by Green Jello fans, for the fans. Bill Manspeaker, the fact you set that up a record like that's mind-blowing, that's so original. And,
thank you.
I want to everybody to keep a lookout for that record, because, man, Green Jello hasn't dropped a record in forever. It's been since the follow-up to Serial Killer.
1995.
Yes. The one that has the Carnage track on it that, when you work on.
Yep, that was my last record. And I've just been doing my songs ever since then, and now I'm inspired by the fans that bought that stuff way back then, and again they're recording, they're writing, they're producing, they're putting out this record. All I'm doing is lending my Green Jello name and my vocals. So yeah, a big shout out to Violent J for opening the door for me and welcoming me into the Juggalo family. That's all I would really like to say. Thank you, Violent J.
Well, salute to you, Bill Manspeaker, and you put on one of the most craziest shows I've ever witnessed in my life. I was actually part of it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you actually let me be a wolf, so that was pretty cool.
125 times a year I do that, my friend. For the last 10 years, I've always given my 100%, and I've always lived to my full potential at every show. No matter if there was 10 people or 10,000, I give the same effort.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day. So this is Faygoluvers.
Oh, you're welcome, my friend. Thank you, and thank you to all the Juggalos. I think you are an amazing group of people, and thank you for welcoming my crappy-ass band, Green Jello, into the Juggalo world. I love being part of this.
And you heard it from the punk rock master yourself, punk rock puppet master at that. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night, and take care. Positive vibes
Bye-bye.
to you and your entire family.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Peace.